I love how it says that now. Okay, so welcome, you guys. I think this is I was trying to think today, is our fourth or fifth training. I think it's the fifth of Dash Director 3. Super excited that SavannaSease is going, our double exec is going to lead us tonight. She's a whiz at the back office, reporting, numbers, any of that stuff. She is definitely our go-to girl. So I'm going to turn it over to her, and then at any time if we have any questions, you can chat them or unmute, and then we can open it up at the end too as well. So Savannah, thank you so much.
Hey guys. Yeah, anytime you have questions, just unmute, ask. I'll try and watch the chat. Sometimes it works better, like if you want to have your back office up. I know some of you are probably running around with kids right now, but if you want to have it up and try and do anything I'm doing or slow me down, anything like that, just stop me at any time and I will go back over things. So let me share my screen here. Which one do I want to share? Two. All right. And I'm going to kind of bounce back and forth between the Zaya test account and then my back office, because some things are easier to see in my back office, but then I also don't want to share team numbers from my girls that I don't have permission to share. So the first thing I want to go over is QPV and CPV. Robin mentioned this, and I know it gets confused a lot. So when you're in your back office and you see, your group numbers up here, you guys know what this is by now. But when you are trying to rank, or when you are trying to hit commission numbers, or that 8% override, you always want to be looking at your qualified personal volume. Okay, the difference between qualified and commissionable is that the qualified includes everything. So it includes reps on your team. I guess the qualified personal, this is just going to be yours, but for your whole team, it includes everything that's in the back office too. So if someone's buying in the back office and not through their website, that's including the qualified personal volume, and all of that counts towards ranking and group volume numbers. But you're not going to get paid commission on somebody ordering through the back office, okay? So that's where this number comes in. So if you ever see these two aren't the same for either yourself or your downline, it's one of two reasons. If it's for one of your downlines, it's probably the first month they started, and the starter kit, that 145 PV you get when you start, does not count towards commissions. And then the other option is they're probably buying through their back office. So I kind of look at that every month, especially for new people. When we run some of these reports, it will show qualified and commissionable. And if they're not matching, it's something you can mention to them and say, hey, totally okay if you want to use your discount in the back office, but there might be a better option paying full price and getting commissions back. So that's just one thing I kind of wanted to show to begin with. But otherwise, we're going to spend time in this downline report right here. And I'm going to run through the different filters and stuff to pull a report. So right now, this is what it probably looks like for you. You're going to have all this explanation stuff over here. And you're going to be able to kind of customize what you see. So I'm just going to pull a simple report. Maybe for June of 2021, I want to see my first level, just what they're doing this month. And this is, I should probably pull this in mine. Okay, so I'm going to do this in my account, just so you can kind of see. Now over here, do you see how I have these saved filters? I'm going to show you how to make these. So I just load these filters and look at my first level, or I look at my directors, or I look at my team leaders. These are something you can build tonight after I show you how to do this. So page size, you can leave this at what it defaults to 25. I usually just pick a big number because I like to see everything on one page. And then here you can pick what month you're doing it for. I'm going back a ways just to look at some old numbers, but if you want, you can hit the control button on your keyboard and you can pick multiple months. I don't know why you would want to do a couple months apart, but you can. Or you can even click your shift key and click 1 month and then go clear down here and pick another, and it will pick everything between. So control lets you just pick random ones. Shift lets you pick one up here and then hold shift, and it lets you select everything in between it, okay? So down here, these are just filter options. So whatever you put in here, it's going to limit the data you're getting back on your report. This is all off of QPV2, which is what you want to know when it comes to ranking and trying to hit director. So you can put a minimum number, you can put a maximum. I use this at the end of the month when I want to see who's below the $1,000 level for commissions, you know, who's close to it, or the $200 level to get a commission check at all, or the $600 level to be able to get their free website. So maybe I want my max here to be $999 for my first level. So I can go back and look at each of my first level and say, hey, you're close to that commission level, or you're close to a free website. We're not going to pull this right now, but you can do past months and click yes here, and it'll show you everyone who promoted on your team the past month. And then here, if you want to see who has recruited people on your team, you could just put a 1 in this, and it will pull anyone on your team that has added at least 1 rep this month or more. We're going to keep that 0 because right now we're just going to do it by volume. And then I'm only looking at, ignore this, it always defaults to that. That's just the maximum number of or people to display on here, and that's not going to be an issue for any of us. But use specific level. So I'm looking at my first level here, okay? And then you can always create different filters. Like I said, I have one for directors on my team. So if you want to look at your first level, and maybe you only want to look at the junior reps in your first level, you could click that box. Or junior reps and senior reps, who's maybe shooting for director soon. You could click both of them, okay? Right now we're just going to do the whole first level. And then this stuff is entry date. So maybe as your team's getting bigger, you want to be able to see who joined your team this month. So you could put a date of 6/1 for an entry start date, or 6/1 to 6/15, who joined your team in the first 2 weeks of the month. And then it would pull just those names on your team that are new to your team. Maybe you send them an email to welcome them or something like that. We're going to leave that blank because, again, we're just going to look at the numbers for your first level. I don't really ever change my sort. This pretty much means it's going to sort it, you know, how you can do it alphabetical and things like that. Right now, it just always lists my first level person in the order they joined my team. You can do it alphabetical. You can do it by their rank. The highest volume to the lowest. There's lots of ways you can sort it. I just always just let it default to downline sequence. And then you can do it by month or by the different states. So we're just going to do that one filter. And if you want to save it as a filter, this is where you're going to fill that out at. So I will put in first level less than $999. Okay. So when I run this, it is going to pull anyone on my team, and this is an old report from, I don't even know what month I did, 2020. It's showing how many people are in the report. So it looks like there's 36 people on this report for my first level. And then it will show multiple things for each of them. So I'll kind of run through those, but it's those that had less than $999 a couple years back. So then on this, you can kind of look at each person and what these things mean. So you can click on this. These are the different tools. You can email that person. So say this report is everyone that is close to the $600 level. I could click this little email button right here and email them and say, hey, you're so close to a free website. You're right under $600, and it will email everybody on that list. Okay. You can also click here to view the people it's going to send it to remove people if you want to, and then you can also send a copy of the email to yourself. So I'm going to return to that report. Another nice thing about this is, so say I want to look at Lexi's team. This little arrow, I can click on it, and it's going to bring up everybody on her team and all their numbers to the right and their ranks and everything. And again, I could just email her team. Maybe there's something that Lexi's going for, and I want to talk to her team about what she's kind of pulling or trying to accomplish, maybe a rank or something, or just shout out at something that happened on their team as a whole, whatever it may be. This will let me email everybody in that downline. And go back here though. And then you can also look at details. So this is going to bring up, and I'll probably do it on here. So this will bring up information about that rep. It will show you their address, their email, their rank, when they started, who their sponsor is. Obviously, this is a test account, so there's not a real name. And then the pie chart. This pie chart is very helpful for when you want to look at a specific person. So say I have a girl on my team that is shooting for director, okay? I would look at, these are the reports I would go to see their lifetime volume, to see how their team is doing that month. So there's 4 reports here. You want to go to the month that, maybe the last month, so maybe May, and you'd pull this report first, personal volume by level, and this would show you what they did for their team. Let me pull up a real person. So you can see some real data here. And this is an inactive team, so I'm not showing you anything that you can't see. Okay, so like this report here, this is gonna show level 0 is you, if you're looking at this report, or it would be the girl you're running it for. And then it shows their first level, it would show their second level, their third level, all the way down. So I would be able to look here and say this person's going for director. I could say, okay, so your first level has to have $2,000. Your total team volume has to have 10,000. So this will show by level how that team is doing, and it will also show their total volume for the month. So this is something you could be pulling for gals on your team as they're starting to build teams and say, hey, you're really close to junior rep, or you're really close to senior rep. You as a whole have $1,800 and your team needs a group volume of 2,000, okay? So those charts have been gone over before, but really study those charts and kind of dive into these reports for different girls on your team to see where they are. There's 2 reports in the middle. I don't use these as much. This is party statistics. It will show you how many parties have been closed for the time frame you picked on your report. And then this shows you the promotions and demotions they've had as a rep. And then last, personal volume history. So you know when gals are shouting out their team for their milestones of they sold 5,000, 10,000, 50,000 volume, this is where you get it from. So when you pull that, you go all the way to the bottom and it will show their lifetime volume, okay? Close out of this. And I already showed you that, but that email feature is really good. So if you ever want to email your team at the beginning of the month and maybe ask their goals, this is a great feature to be able to email your whole downline at once, or I just use my first level, but it's a way to email them. And then let me go back to this downline report so you can see we typed in that box to make that filter. We typed in it down here. So now when you go on the right side, where is it at? First level less than 99. So this is the filter we made, okay? So now it's always there. So I can reload it, and maybe I want to pull it for a different month. And then you just hit run report and it runs it again. So it's a really nice way to save time. So you're not, I'm going to delete it because probably mess me up later. It's a great way to save time. You know, you can go in there and pull your reports. I will pull a report for my directors on my team and see how they're doing, or my leaders in general, my junior reps, senior reps, and all of that. I'll also look at current enrollments for the month. So for that one, I just have for my first level, and right here, I do a start date. So instead of February, I would do June 1st as a start date. And if I run this, it would show how many girls were added to my team this month, or how many reps were added to my team this month. Another good feature that I want to show you, this is what I use kind of at the end of the month. And this is the part I want you to maybe take some notes on if you're trying to hit director. It will help you kind of figure out how many parties do you need for your team to hit director. This is kind of going to be a calculation. Yeah, the filters really save time. They're very helpful. So we're just going to pick anything because I'm going to export this and that's what I want you to see. I'm just going to run this report. Oh, we need to maybe have some data though. Probably have something in there. Let's do directors. What is happening here? Oh, you know what? I wonder if it logged me into the, I know what it is. I have a start date. So see here, I have directors, senior directors, executives, Zaya execs. So anybody director and above are going to show on this report for my first level. All right, now let's try that. There we go. Okay. So if I was to export this right here, this is where I could email them. This has a little X in the middle of that button or that square. That is to export it to Excel. So if I click on this, it's going to populate it. You can save it wherever, and then it will open it. And I have one without everyone's number saved that I will show you, but it just saves it there. Pull it up. Probably gonna go to the wrong screen. Yep, sure did. And this is what it looks like. You're gonna have a lot of data here. So I will go over that, but I'm gonna do it without all the numbers. So we're gonna use this one. So a few fields that are important on this. It's gonna show their rep number, their name. It's gonna show their demographics, where they live, their rank, and who their sponsor is, all of that. The important information that I use a lot is over here on the right. So you can see their volume, what they've sold, what their team sold for the month, how many parties they closed, and all of that. So let's start with this one, PTY count. That's party count. So that means this person closed 10 parties the month this was ran. The thing that I'm going to calculate is all of the parties for your team. This is what I want to show you. So if you were to click, because if you know how many parties you had last month, we can calculate kind of what each of those parties sold, and that kind of helps you know how many parties you want in the future to reach director. Okay, so I have it written out here for you. But what you need to know first is how many you had as a team that month. So if you click this top cell, it's going to highlight everything for your team. Pretend this is full because I deleted everything except this column. But then down here on the right, it shows you the count of parties. Okay, so 288 parties. So for your team, that might be less, it might be more, but you want to have that number to calculate out your efficiency for each party on your team, okay? So that's a number you're gonna wanna grab from this Excel sheet. You'll export it and find that number. So maybe write that down if you are doing it. Otherwise, just take a note and you can calculate it later. Other things on this report I use, and we'll go back to the party count, but the QPV. We talked about the QPV and the CPV. So for this person, they match. So this person's probably buying all of her stuff through her website. She's not buying anything through her back office. That's why they are the same. So she's getting commissions on her full volume, okay? This column is TDV, so it's the total downline volume for her team, okay? So it shows how much her whole downline has and what she would be ranking off of, and all of her volume goes off of. And then APV, this is all-time personal volume. So this is the number, and this is how I pull my reports for my girls. I export it here, and then I just look to see what their volume is, and have they hit a new milestone? Have they hit 100,000 in sales? Do I want to shout them out this month? And this is her direct or her downline commissional volume. So this is these are both downline numbers, but like I said, this one's commissionable. So some people on our team are probably shopping through the back office. Okay. I know these numbers are like, oh, I can't remember all these acronyms. You can go into your company files, and there's a glossary for all of this. So you can print that out and know what these numbers are. Really, QPV and CPV, it's just taking forever to load, but, and your party count are the main numbers you're gonna use on that. Maybe that'll load for us. We'll let that load slowly. 1 second, I'm gonna try and keep these dogs off. Sorry about that. Okay, so if you have any questions on these volume numbers after, just let me know or put a comment. Company files won't load. Yeah, me either, Carissa. Okay, it's not just me. But if you go to company files and then you click on, I think it's pay plan, there's a glossary for all the numbers. But yeah, QPV, CPV, and the APV are probably the numbers I use the most because, like I said, I use it to shout people out. Loaded ever so slowly. Weird. Okay, so this is the part you guys want to know for rank advancing. So this is what we're going to go into, this party count. So I learned this from Robin actually, but I do my volume daily. Every morning when I get up, I screenshot my back office and I look to see how many reps are on my team. It seems very like, why am I doing this at first? But over months and months, you can kind of see different trends. So this is my little notebook with all my numbers. This is something Sam Higginson told Robin to do also. It has been very helpful because when you get towards the end of the month, you can see, okay, it's a Wednesday. What does my team usually do on a Wednesday? Or it's a Sunday. Am I going to get much more volume? And you just start to see trends of growth and some valleys on slow months and things like that. But I always say, don't wish and hope, have a plan. And when you have numbers, you can have a plan, okay? There's ways to make up the volume. There's way to push out incentives. But if you don't know your numbers, you don't have to be a numbers person necessarily, but writing them down every day and knowing there's 7 days left in the month and we're behind 5,000 or we're behind 10, whatever it is, you can see that because you know where you were the month before and you know where you ended the month before, okay? Let me open this up for you. So planning. This is one thing I always do when my girls are trying to get to director. I tell them, okay, you want to hit director, right? So every day you're going to have July, 31 days in the month. You need 10,000 in volume, right? So let's divide that out. 10,000 divided by 31, you need to be adding $323 a day for your team. That's something you can see. That's something you can write down and track every single day. You'll know if you're heading behind. You know if maybe you want to do a booking blitz and throw out some incentives to your team to book just one more party. Or if you need to book more parties, whatever it is. So you can always divide your team volume that you want to get for the month by the number of days and kind of know if you're ahead or behind, okay? And let me know if you guys have questions on this. This is a big one for planning. Party efficiency. So like I said, back here, you get your party count, and that number is going to kind of dictate how you plan your month. Or maybe you're doing a booking blitz and you know how many parties you need for the month. So for director, we're going to take your total group volume. So last month in May, what was your total group volume at the end of the month? And you're going to divide it by how many parties on this spreadsheet that you had. Okay, so maybe your group volume was, maybe you haven't hit director yet. I'm just going to throw out some numbers. I'll keep it with director. So you want a volume of 10,000, right? And you divide it by 22 parties because that's how many parties you had for the month. So each of your parties on your team are bringing in about $454. Okay, so that's just, because you never know. One party might hit 1,000, one might hit 200, one might hit 600. But on average, your team, if you're hitting director and you had 22 parties, this is what each party kind of averaged bringing in. So if you're trying to get to senior director, you would need 20,000 in group volume. And you know your team is doing an efficiency of this, right? This party efficiency. So we're going to put that number here to figure out how many parties you need. And I can send this out or post or something, or if you want me to help you calculate it, I'm happy to. But this is kind of a way for you to know, okay, I need 44 parties. My team only had 22 when I hit director. So what am I going to do to maybe incentivize or help them to book those parties for the coming months to start working on senior director, okay? So if you're not hitting director yet, go ahead and find your group volume. So say you're at 7,500 last month, okay? And on your downline report, your team has 12 parties, okay? That means each party for your team brings about $625 in, which is a good efficiency. When I don't know my girls' numbers, I'll say just average 600 for a party. Then you're going to know that you need to do 625 per party. So if you want to hit director, that's that volume divided by $625 per party. your team needs to do 16 parties most likely to get to director, okay? And we've seen a lot of people, I've seen some girls who they do $7,500 the month they hit director and their team brings in 2,500, okay? So keep that in mind. You can always book out your schedule like crazy, but those are some calculations that I still do just to see what my team's doing with their efficiencies and stuff. My daughter running back and forth trying to get these dogs to shut up. Okay, let me know if you want me to go over that again or if you want me to look at the filters. I wanted to leave time for you guys to ask questions or me to go back through the back office. Is there anything anyone wants to go over? I know this part kind of usually gets people, so if you guys want me to send this out, I can.
Maybe,
no?
Savannah, you could post, or is that like a document you could post on our Dash to Director?
Yep, I can. It's my notes at the top and then this part, so I can save this separately and send it. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be good.
Okay. I can do that.
Anyone have any questions for Savannah?
Do the math real quick for the first level volume required for director. Do you want to know like how many parties they would need to have? Okay. So you would need to find out what your first level had for parties last month. So you would be able to go to your downline reports and then you would want to run, so say for May, you would run May and you would go down to first level, and this isn't going to pull anything because it's a test database. But when you pull that, you would export it to Excel. And then when you get it to Excel, you would find how many parties total your first level did. So let's say they did 4 parties, okay? So if they did 4 parties for the month, I would need to know what like their volume was. So maybe their volume is only 1,000. Your first level is only at 1,000. I guess, Mary, do you want to know at 2,000 how many parties they need? It's hard without your numbers. Let's see if she responds. Because you would take their volume for the last month and divide it by how many parties they had last month. Okay, so let's just say they were at 1,000. So you need to find out what your first level volume was. Say they were at 1,000 and say they had 3 parties, okay? So those numbers you'll have to plug in on your own, but say 1,000 parties, they had 3. That means their party efficiency is $333, but they need to get to 2,000, okay? So 2,000 divided by that efficiency, they need to have 6 parties to get to that $2,000 level. You bet, no problem. And then again, you know, obviously they can help you more than that. You know, if they're only doing 2,000, you're making up 8,000, unless you have a second and third level. So definitely, you know, try and get them to maybe, if you have 3 people, have them book out 3 or 4 parties each. And they maybe there's some incentive if they get that many, 1 a week for a month or something. Anybody else?
Anybody have any questions? Feel free to ask. We've got some time. Anyone?
This one usually keeps people like, they have to kind of review it again and look over it. Let me know if you have questions, guys. I know it's a lot to take in and it's hard to kind of watch and follow along too. So shoot me a message if you want me to help you with your specific month numbers. I'm happy to do it.
Super helpful, like even just the little filter suggestion. So you don't have to generate the same report over and over again.
Every month and multiple, especially like if I have one, I mean, I've had so many people on here that, you know, if I know one of my girls is going for a goal, I will have a filter that says Aubrey, Lexi, Carly, and just run that throughout the month so I can keep looking at her numbers without.
Oh my gosh, that's so smart because I'm always going back, drilling down to their name.
Yes, or typing in and searching their name. Nope, you can just save it and you can delete it at any time and clean it up. But those little buttons go on. Yes. So I don't know if anyone wants to see those, but what I have over here is pretty much, I have a first level one. It just has a 1 in it so I can see everybody on my team. This one has a number 1 filter and directors and up. I do current enrollments, and then I also will do one like the 3x4. Like if we have an incentive like that some months, I will set one up to where that they have to have 3 recruits, and their minimum is 2,500 for volume. So then I can run at the end of the month to see if anyone hit the 3x4. Obviously, you have to close parties, 4 closed parties, but it kind of will help you get a ballpark range for who hit the 3x4 too. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
So good.
All right.
Super helpful. Anyone else have any comments or questions or anything at all?
Oh, it opened. So here we go. Pay plan.
Oh,
Sorry.
finally.
Yeah, finally. It has all of the, maybe this won't load though, but yeah, this will show your QPV, CPV, every single word. It defines it and explains it to you. There you go. So you could look at this and kind of learn more about it.
Awesome.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you, Sav. So good. I feel like I need to rewatch this. So I am not a whiz at the back office or the reports. I am the one that drills down every single thing. So yeah, I need to set these up for myself. That's so good. Like, especially like, because there's specific reports I almost run daily too. So it makes so much sense.
Exactly. Oh, there is a question. Can you do the math? Oh, how many parties?
Yes, my to sink in. Thank you.
Oh, rewatching for sure.
Watching for sure. Yes, I'll post this, you guys, as soon as it uploads. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, awesome. If anyone has any questions too, after I post the recording, just tag Sav and comment on there, and she can help you. And then Sav, if you want to share that numbers, how you broke it down with parties, and yeah, that'd be great.
All right, guys.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone.
Bye.
Have a great rest of your night, everyone. Bye-bye.